Welcome everybody. This is my first YouTube video since I was like 13. I used to just do Minecraft videos and bullshit. They're all gone. No one will be able to find them ever. Um, Now I do music. I just kind of go through life. I'm not good at staying on topic, talking to the camera or anything. But I just wanted to make these videos. I don't know. They don't still have like an overarching theme. I tend to ramble a lot. It's kind of bullshit. But I don't have like a script or anything. I just have some like ideas I put up on notes on my computer. I literally just did this like 2 seconds before I started recording. But it's just kind of like my creative process takes on what's going on right now in the creative field and music, especially because I make music under Avante Chaser, under Faded Nation. I guess I wanted to start actually talking about what Faded Nation is. It's just like me and my friends making music. It's not like a group or anything. It's more just like, I guess it's kind of a group. I don't know. It's more of like an idea. Also, sorry if there's like background noise. I have my AC on and it's kind of loud. It's hot as fuck here. It's like 100 degrees outside and it's not supposed to be 100 degrees. Um, but yeah, so Faded Nation is basically, like I said, like a group. Um, It's more of an idea because I think that everyone's fated to something, right? That's kind of like, it's a little corny, but it's kind of true, right? Like we all have our own fates. It's about controlling, or not, you can't really control it, but it's about like making it what you want to be. And I think nation, because I mean, I was a political science major. I think about like, kind of like, obviously I live in America, you can hear my voice. Um, like what, what's gonna happen with America, but not in like I'm not trying to be preachy or anything. I think it's just something to think about. You know what I mean? I think you got to think about these things sometimes. If you're not thinking about just what the fuck's going on, like I don't know how you're not thinking about it right now. But also like I just like tend to think about that stuff a lot, get really pissed about it. Um, just like let myself get too bogged down in shit that's going on, like not just in America, around the world. I try to channel that a little bit into music. It's not like I'm in there like spitting like fucking like conscious like shit or whatever. But I mean, I just try to like include it in a way that's not so direct, but you know, it's still like you kind of know what I'm talking about. But it kind of makes you think, right? Like it hashtag makes you think. Like it puts those ideas in your head, and you can kind of make what you want of it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not directly being like saying, "Oh, this shit's going on, it's fucked up," but you just gotta listen. um, but yeah, I mean, I think technically all nations are fated. I don't think any country or any empire lasts forever. I guess China's like the longest lasting one, but shit, they've had their moments of shit was about to go down. Um, but yeah, so anyways, the point of this video was to kind of talk about also all my videos are gonna probably be mostly unedited. Maybe they'll have like one or two edits here and there, but it's a lot of me rambling. So if you don't like to hear a lot of ums and likes or whatever, um, I don't know, just go watch something else. I'm not gonna edit it. It's just gonna be like my fucking uh own ideas just spilling out. Anyways, so what I think about like the creative field right now is it's in a I don't know if I would say it's a bad place. Uh, but it's definitely not in the best place it could be for artists that want to create. And I think creativity is one of those things that it comes from, I mean, it comes from the heart. It comes from a place within you, right? And obviously, there's a whole discussion about AI and music, obviously art. But I'm probably going to stick mostly to music in this because that's kind of the thing I know most about, at least in this context. But yeah, I mean, I think AI and music is bullshit. I mean, I think there are ways that it can definitely, it could be used to help, like maybe, within a tool, like a plugin that you're using, right? If there's AI within that system to maybe correct for like an accidental thing, that could be good. At the same time, I think those accidents are kind of what makes music unique, right? Like with tape recorders back in the day, there's moments like with I mean, I'm not like a I have friends that record on tape. I've never recorded on tape, so I just tell me if I'm wrong. I could be talking out of my ass. But there were like imperfections within that tape and like that recording that like added to the sound. So I think in that way, I could see an argument for both, but obviously with like generative AI and just like making like with the Phoenix Flexing song, and dude, I like Shoreline Mafia a lot back in high school, like Phoenix Flexing, OGZ, like all those guys. But yeah, I think that song was like pretty bullshit. It's pretty obviously AI. Whether he actually sang the vocals or not is up to debate. I think maybe he sang them and then they just threw, they like replaced his vocals with like an AI voice. But I mean, it's still bullshit. I still think like as soon as I heard this song, I was like, dude, as someone who's like consumed a lot of his music, that's definitely AI. But um, but I think it's more than just AI. I think it's also like the fact that so many, if you want to make it in music now, basically what they say is you got to be a content creator, right? Like you gotta pump like reels and TikToks 4 or 5 a day. I'm on the music promotion subreddit, and those motherfuckers are just like, dude, if you're not like pumping, 3 to 5 reels and TikToks separate, 3 to 5 on reels, 3 to 5 on TikTok, paying for meta ads, yada yada, like you're destined to fail, right? And I guess if you do want to make a career out of music, you kind of got to do that stuff, right? Because it does drive engagement or whatever to your page and your music and yada yada. But is that the fans you want? You know what I mean? Like, I guess any publicity is good publicity, but is that what you actually want out of, you know, your music? You want like a bunch of people that, I mean, that's how like most artists these days blow up, right? It's from TikTok or whatever. Um, but do you want, is that what you want? Like there's that video like from a while back of like the Steve Lacy show, and they could only, people could only sing like the chorus from his song, and that was it. Like people, I mean, there's obviously fans of Steve Lacy that like actually know his music, but like a lot of people like they were just there because they knew that song from TikTok. And like people have said this before. I'm not saying anything original. I mean, not that like most ideas aren't original, and like when you speak, but like people have said this before. I'm just kind of like a lot of this is my own frustration. And you can call me lazy for not like grinding the fucking content creation game to like blow up my music, but it's not like I'm like there on Instagram. I use Instagram, but like it's not like I'm on there to fucking like be mysterious. It's not like I'm not. You know, it, it's not like I'm refusing to post fucking 3 5 times a day because I want to like have like a mysterious thing. It's just like I don't. I think maybe 2 years ago that would have worked. I don't think it works now. I mean, maybe it still definitely works, but it works to a lesser degree because everyone's doing it, right? So you just kind of get lost in the noise. And at a certain point, people scrolling, it's so easy to scroll past you. You know what I mean? Like people are gonna see your video and they're just like, "Oh, cool, drop a like, scroll." You know what I mean? Like they see so many videos, like music promotion videos, that it's just noise. You know what I mean? Like I like me personally too. Most of the time, there's only been 1 or 2 times I've seen music promoted that I'm like, oh, this is good, right? Like I'm gonna go follow this person. I'm gonna listen to their music. Most of the time, I'm just like, okay, scroll, funny video, haha. Like I prefer the funny videos. You know what I mean? Like that scrolling kind of like that, like just to see comedy. Like I like comedy. I like funny videos. I'm a person. Like, I shit on like reels and like doom scrolling and all that shit. But I mean, I do it sometimes. You know what I mean? I try to. I've been off Instagram, like just using it on my computer to like connect with other artists, which I'm not like as inclined to scroll on my computer. Um, on the phone it's just too easy, man, with the thumbs. You just keep scrolling. But I mean, I think like again, I told you I'm just gonna ramble, so sorry if you're not following me, but I think, a big part of like this music promotion game is finding the next thing that works, right? Because again, like I said, 2 years ago, the promoting your music through short form content was great, right? Like people definitely there were a lot of people doing it, but it's not like it is now where like everyone's doing it. You know what I mean? Like it was much more of like a like it was just I think it was a more lucrative. thing to do. Now everyone's doing it. I think another thing people do is paid promos, which yeah, those could work. I haven't really done any of those yet. I've been like reaching out just to like small, like 1,000 follower music like publication slash like online magazines, whatever. Like they post, oh, songs we found this week, yada yada, and shit, they reject me. They're like, oh, that's not what we're looking for right now. But it's not like I'm paying them to do it. I'm just sending them my music. Hey, check this out. Hope this is, and they accept submissions too. So it's not like I'm just hopping in their DMs. Like, hey, bro, check out this album. Like, I do it through their submission shit or whatever. Follow the guidelines. And if they, don't want to post it, I don't take it personally. You know what I mean? Maybe I have once, maybe more than once, but like I'm learning, not to take it personally. Um, Another one is obviously tried and true method, collaborating with other artists. I think that one is a funny one because I've met artists that are so down to collaborate and they're great. And, some obviously ask for money. Especially if they're bigger than me, I'm willing to pay it and I see the talent. And it's never like a lot, I pay like $30 for a feature. I can do that. I got a job. But there's some artists that, they just have an ego and like, they're, it's not saying you're not good enough to, request to, money or like whatever, but like sometimes it's just like, yo, I'm just trying to spitball. I'm just trying to like get an idea going, and then eventually if we can come up with like a cohesive idea, then we can start talking money. But I'm not just gonna like I want to discuss with you first. You know what I mean? And it's not like you're big enough to be requesting like money up front. You know what I mean? Or it's not that you're just not big enough. It's like I can tell that we would need to work on this together. You know what I mean? Like it's not. And I sound super fucking self-important right now. Um, I'm not like I'm not. That's not what I'm trying to say. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like basically, I'm just trying to say like there's a lot of ego with certain artists, even if maybe they're big. Like they got more followers than me, right? I fucking have like barely 100 on Instagram. Whatever. I'm not like you have 1,000. Okay, like that doesn't like the music is what speaks for itself, right? Like not your followers, right? But that's the world we live in right now. It's just how it is. Um, so I mean, I think a lot of this, like whether it's like this promotion and yada yada, like this killed a part of creativity where like the point is to create, and then the, whatever, like the money, the success that follows after. But that's also not to say that like creativity dying didn't happen before this age of social media we're in. Like I feel like back before internet or anything, like it was, oh, you want to make music, well you gotta get a studio session, you gotta, now you can, I got a mic right here, I got headphones, I can record music on fucking Logic Pro or whatever, FL, at home. But back then it was like, yeah, you gotta book a studio session, you gotta move all your equipment around, you gotta book shows, move the, because obviously also back then instruments were a much more like necessary part of music. And I'm talking about like 60s, 70s, 80s, even the 90s, but 90s was starting to shift more towards like a more like technological, I guess. I don't really know because instruments are technology too, but like it was like there was a lot more. There was costs involved, obviously, and there's costs involved now, right? You want to pay for a promo, you got to pay for a promo. You want to pay for a feature with an artist you respect, you got to pay for a feature. But like back then, it was you were dropping money, but it was also like I feel like it was you were still like that money was going towards you playing music, right? Like now, yeah, you can upload content for free. Great, you know what I mean? Great, but like also the actual grind of posting that much every day. I'm not saying like it's worse than spending money on something, but it's almost like what's the point, right? Because there's plenty of people that like post like that, they're posting all the time and they gain no traction, you know what I mean? And it's like what's the point, right? You just keep posting, 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 and there's definitely you can put there's AI, you can have AI generate a lyric video for you and post it. um it could work. I'm just saying that's going to definitely get lost in the noise, like like that, because it's just fucking words on a screen. Like there's so many people that do that. if you want to stand out, you can definitely stand out, but it's going to take some effort, right? Editing, like coming up with ideas, like coming up with those eye-catching things that, you know, get people hooked, right? And like shit, dude, I got bills, everyone's got bills to pay, you know what I mean? Like, is there time, like enough time in the day? And I could be making excuses. They tell me straight up, I am a sensitive guy. I get angry about shit people say online, but like I get a little too wrapped up in it. But shit, say if I'm making excuses like, oh, dude, you're just lazy. Like you just got to put your mind to it, yada yada. I'm putting my like what I want to do is like build a more organic fan base, which may be just a lost cause now. You know what I mean? Like it's just whatever. But like building an organic fan base to me is more valuable than just like a bunch of like botted streams. And by botted I don't mean like actual bots, you know, streaming my music. But what I mean is like people that like, oh yeah, they like a song, but they don't really care for like the overall message, or they don't even care for like the overall like the artist. You know what I mean? Like they care about like they just like have the song in their playlist or whatever. Don't get me started on playlisting because that's a whole other thing. I think. Anyways, I guess what I'm trying to say is like I'm there's something about like connecting with people that listen to your music directly. You know what I mean? And I mean, I think a great way of doing that is shows. That's another one I didn't touch on. Shows, still a tried and true method, I think. Not that I've done any shows. I'm trying to do shows. Um, but buddy, it's hard out here. Uh, but like that's a tried and true method. That is like, you have your merch at your shows, you have CDs, whatever, like physical things that people can have because I think people, this isn't nothing I'm saying is groundbreaking. People like obviously they have a physical object in their hand that they like own. That is, I feel like, it's a shirt or a CD, right? You see that and you're like, oh yeah, I got it at that show of that person. Like maybe I can go check out their music. Maybe they just like how it looks, whatever. But it's something about like having that physical form in your hand is really cool. And I think that like with album art and all that stuff like that, that ties back to like the whole creativity aspect I started this video about, which I realize I'm not really talking about. You know what I mean? Um, I think I haven't really talked about it, but I think it all ties back into that, right? Like you got an album cover, track list, art, back art, art on the back of the CD or vinyl or whatever the hell. And it like you got to put intention into that. You know what I mean? Like I mean the person who designed the Faded Prolific cover, Kid Indigo, he's super talented, and like that really like that cover and the backside and everything really felt like it fit the album. Even though he hadn't even heard the album, like I kind of told him like a general idea, and I liked his style, and I knew his style would fit like the project and what I was going for. So like it's perfect. You know what I mean? Like that's perfect. The creativity it meshes between like visual and audio. Um, to move on, like I have some things written up, but like I think like going back to like the only liking your song, not liking the artist as a whole. I think also people chase the aesthetic more than they chase the artist themselves, right? Like it's kind of like certain artists they're trendy because people may like the music, but it's the aesthetic that they really like. You know what I mean? It's like what the artist embodies, which is I guess always been a thing. Um, but I think now with like social media, it's like blown it up times 10. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, the Beatles, like they had an aesthetic. They also had a bunch of different aesthetics. You know what I mean? Like they cycled through aesthetics. And it wasn't like they were like, oh yeah, this aesthetic, this is gonna do really well, like commercially. You know what I mean? Like, no, they were just fucking doing it because they like discovered acid. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really like they were thinking like, and it's like kind of different when you like look at an artist like Playboy Cardi or something where like he started out with a certain aesthetic, and I don't think he was even thinking about that aesthetic as like something that is marketable. But I think maybe it's not true, and it's not. I'm not criticizing him. I think he's really smart with like his fashion and like the aesthetic he's building. But I think like his newer stuff, it's definitely like very intentional, right? And I think it's like a reflection of also just like the world we live in. We live in a very dark world, very like evil world. I think we've always lived in the world's always been kind of evil, but like I think culturally we're in a very like dark place, and I think his aesthetic reflects that. Again, I'm not this is not me criticizing him. I could criticize him for other reasons, but like not musically technically, but some of the shit he does in his personal life. But that's not what I'm here for. Um, I think like that aesthetic he's crafted is really appealing, especially to like teenage guys. You know what I mean? Like teenagers, predominantly men. Um, but like yeah, like that's an example, right? Like people chase that aesthetic. People like chase that like opium aesthetic, like leather jackets, like kind of punk. But it's not really punk because like it's not like what are they rebelling against? I don't really know because they just like. And listen, I like I think Playboy Cardi makes good music. It's catchy. It's fun to listen to. But like, what are they really rebelling against? Because it's still like, oh yeah, like I'm wearing Rick Owens, I'm wearing design. You know what I mean? Like that's not really punk to me. And I'm not. Listen, I don't even listen to punk like that. But I know that like OG punk, and I think there were definitely some industry plants in the OG punk scene. But like that's not what it was about. It wasn't about like, oh, I'm wearing this, like I got more money than you. You know what I mean? It's fucking it's supposed to be countercultural, and our culture is money. So it's like, what are you even rebelling against? Anyways, so that's why like what I'm saying, like it's more of like an intentionally designed aesthetic versus like a naturally occurring movement. Again, nothing I'm saying is groundbreaking. You can find a million fucking um million videos on YouTube or whatever that talk about this. This is just me. I'm just dumping out. I have no original ideas. Um, Another thing I think about is, and this kind of ties into the aesthetic thing, is algorithmic nichification. And I don't think that's a real. I don't think nichification is a real word. Maybe it is. I think maybe I've heard it somewhere, but I mean, it's kind of like a bullshit thing that I just like. I don't think it's an original idea. Like I said, I don't have original ideas, but I just like came up with that phrase. Probably heard it somewhere else. Um, and it's like basically, right, the algorithm's feeding you your niche, right? Like no one, and then this completely goes back to exactly, maybe I'm just repeating exactly what I just said, but like no one's, I feel like people aren't creating new subcultures. Like people aren't really creating new genres per se. Maybe I could be wrong. Tell me what you think. But like people aren't really like, I don't think I don't think subgenres are naturally occurring like they used to. Because like I think with the, I actually this is exactly from a video I watched. Um, the death of third spaces and all that stuff, like physical third spaces where people can collect and convene and talk in real life, not just online, um, and not just through like an algorithm. Uh, I think that was like super crucial to like birthing subgenres, and subcultures, whatever. I think now it definitely that can happen. I think Discord's been like a big thing in like newer music that has, it's kind of like the third space for a lot of people where like you can physically talk to people. You know what I mean? Like it's, you get in rooms and everything and you can talk to people. And that I think has birthed new subgenres, and I think that's really cool. But I think it's also algorithmic, right? Because it's like what the algorithm feeds you influences you to build a subgenre, right? Like it's at the end of the day, it's like it's the bot that's feeding you. You know what I mean? Because like I think before, people were always inspired by other media. I'm not saying like people just came up with shit out of thin air. Like you were always inspired by media. But I think before you had more of a choice, right? Like you go to the bookstore and you pick out a book you like. Maybe you got recommended it by someone else, but they picked it out, or the person before them, right? And I guess that's kind of the same thing as liking a video, right? The person before you liked it, then you saw you liked it, and then it builds upon itself, right? And makes it to the masses. But also, like, going to Blockbuster, right? You pick out, and this, I'm not like nostalgia baiting because I fucking hate nostalgia baiting. I think most of, a lot of the subgenres now are just nostalgia baiting. Um, but like, you go to Blockbuster. I guess we yearn for the simpler times, right? Like, but you go to Blockbuster, you pick out the movie. You pick out the movie you want to watch, and then you like that movie. You look at that director. You go watch. Go to Blockbuster, pick out another one of his movies, right? Like it was, in like now Netflix now you just get recommended shit, which like I watch the recommended shit they recommend me sometimes. I'm like, ooh, that sounds cool. I'm not saying I'm better than anyone. I completely do the same shit, man. I should probably change it if I'm going to be talking about it all the time. But yeah, anyways, like this goes to say that I think creativity, people are always creating. I'm not saying it's gone, like, oh yeah, they just destroyed it. But I think it's in an interesting place right now where I want to figure out how to navigate it. Maybe this is a means to navigate it, just fucking word vomiting onto the screen and having people, probably 20 people, 20 views. I don't even think they're, most of them probably aren't people, it's bots. Um, People just fucking listen to it. So that's basically all I have to say. Probably went on for a really long time, and I don't love the sound of my voice. I don't think anyone does, to be honest. So I won't be watching this video back that much. I'm just gonna edit out the beginning because I was just like doing a lot of hooting and hollering. But yeah, thanks for joining me. I'll probably do another video soon.
It's MC Bell on the beat.
Live inside a faded nation, every day a page of revelation. Stacks they hate it, they can't wait for gates to break it, but I'm too initiated.